All right, so for this video, I wanted to discuss basically, I wanted to touch on the subject of basically humanity's lost abilities, which I believe is a really important subject. And hold on, let me move this a little bit closer. Um, yeah, okay, so I wanted to talk about basically humanity's lost abilities, which if you've watched my other videos, you will know that basically humanity as a collective tends to have a fascination with certain things, and this oftentimes this pops up in fiction. This sort of shows up or sort of pops out in fictional media, right? And I believe, basically, to sort of start off with, I do believe that there is a reason why humanity is fascinated with the superhuman, right? Superman, right? The Flash, Wonder Woman, right? There's a reason why we have a fascination. Yeah, the X-Men, right? There's a reason why we have a fascination with superpowers, first of all, right? Because it's almost like it's almost like the question that we ask in our heads is like, what if the human being was capable of more than we are told? And when we ask that question, they tell us, oh, that's impossible, right? Because of like the secular worldview that's sort of pushed onto humanity, right? The limited sense of the constrained sense of possibility that runs this matrix as a whole, right? But a lot of times, a lot of times, the only way we get to sort of ask and entertain this idea is through physical media, and so that's how superpowers, right, superhuman abilities often show up, right? But I do believe, and this is going to sound, a bit crazy, a bit schizo, but I do believe that we did have these abilities at some point in humanity's history, and I believe that these abilities were essentially edited out by the controlling forces of this matrix, right? The archons, demons, the Anunnaki, right? The Draco reptilians, whatever you want to call them, right? I do believe that the superhuman abilities of the human race, right? Not superhuman, like human abilities, period, right? I do believe that some of these, if not, I believe a substantial portion of these abilities were edited out or dampened, genetically speaking, especially throughout human history, right? You look at the first of all, you look at the 99% junk DNA, right? You look at the 99% junk DNA. Like, if it's 99%, like, okay, what programs are in that 99% that we have no idea about? No idea about. Is there, is it possible that there is a genetic component to, for example, astral travel? Right? Is there a program that makes us, good or bad at the ability to interface with the astral body? Right? Are there programs, right? Because that's what DNA is. It's an information field. It's a set of programs. It's like binary in a computer. Instead it's a ACG and T, right? Is the encoding system of DNA. So it's basically a set of programs. And how many of those programs are how many of them involve human abilities that have been edited out because they're too dangerous for this matrix, right? And you can look at this really great documentary that sort of got me looking into all this stuff is called Third Eye Spies on YouTube, and it talks about the CIA's program about something called remote viewing, which is the ability for the human mind to glimpse distant locations, right? And to be able to see into distant locations. You can see how the CIA could be interested in something like this, right? Because it's very efficient spycraft. You can look into distant locations and see what's there, and not only that, but you also have the ability to see through time as well, right? So the ability to see through space and time, that was the first sort of first sort of glimpse into seeing, oh, okay, these abilities are actually real, right? And then you look at telepathy, you look at astral projection, you look at Reiki healing and the ability to sort of work with energy, the ability to see auras and people's chakra systems, people's energy systems, right? And you look at all that and you say, okay, how many of these abilities, like, how far does this go, right? And you think about something like super strength, one of the oldest sort of classic superpowers. Like, did we have super strength at a certain point? That's the question that I'm asking right now, because I do believe that at a certain point in humanity's history, we did have fucking super strength. We did have the ability to like telekinesis, right? The ability to manipulate the energy and matter itself using the power of the mind. I do believe that that's real, right? And if that's too crazy, then you might want to expand your sense of the possible, because if we're going to take down this matrix, we need to expand that sense of the possible, right? To expand that sense of what's possible versus what isn't, so that we can essentially take this matrix down. Because and that's one of the fundamental things that this matrix is built on, is that humanity's so tiny and it's so small, and it can only do so much. But what if that's a lie? Which it is a lie. And a part of that lie is that humanity can only do so much. But what if we, hidden in our genetics, in these avatar bodies, what if we possess a form of supreme power, right? Think about like Superman as an example, right? He's from Krypton. He has Kryptonian physiology, right? Kryptonian DNA that allows him to fly and shoot lasers out of his eyes and have super strength and super speed, and he can see through walls, right? The extrasensory abilities, right? All of these abilities, I believe that humanity possessed those abilities in some form at one point in history, right? Let this sink in. We did have these abilities. I genuinely believe it in the core of my being that we did have these abilities, and we still do, right? We still, but they're just dormant in the human body. They're just dormant in the DNA. Okay, so with that being said, you have this recurring theme, right, with DNA, right, and this is something that you see in like a superhero media a lot, right? Like, think about like the X-Men, right? It's a genetic mutation that gives them these abilities, right? You see it a lot in think about like Captain America, like they inject the super soldier serum and it activates the person's full potential, right? You think about like yet again like with Superman, it's like that they're from another planet. They have different DNA, right? And so I do believe that you know because of the and another point that I want to touch upon is that because of the fact that we do possess that supreme power, a lot of the genetic manipulation, a lot of the neurological manipulations, a lot of it's genetic of these bodies, right? Genetic programs, right? I do believe that a lot of that has been edited out because of the fact that if we did possess those abilities, that we'd be too powerful for the Draco reptilians. We'd be too powerful for Satan and his demons. We'd be too powerful for the Anunnaki, for the Archons. Right. Yet again, whatever nomenclature you want to use, we possess a form of supreme power, which fundamentally speaking, I do believe is connected to the human imagination. Right. With the fact that we can create something that doesn't exist, but it exists in here. How is that possible, right? The human intentionality, right? The willpower, the imagination. And this is linked with another thing, another piece of superhero media. Think about Green Lantern, right? Using the power of will to create things with the imagination, using the ring, right? And it's interesting also that one of the plot points of Green Lantern is that he fights against the power of fear, first of all, and second of all, Green Lantern green is the color of the heart chakra. Kind of interesting, huh? Right? Kind of interesting that is that there's some sort of there's symbolism, right, that the sort of presented there, right? Yeah, and it sort of seeps from the collective unconscious, in the most subtle of ways, right? And so just in general, I do believe that these abilities are real, and I do believe that a huge component of it is genetic. And one of the theories that I have, especially when it comes to other videos on my channel that talk about lucid dreaming, is I do believe that if you go inside of your own mind, through the lucid dream state, not through astral projection where you go to some random astral plane that's an external projection of this matrix. So you go to some DMT realm where you get harassed by random jester entities, right? If you go within where the power is, right? If you go within inside of the mind, it's like the plot of Inception, right? I do genuinely believe that if you go inside of your own mind, you might be able to reactivate these abilities, to reactivate the DNA, the hidden genetic programs, the DNA, right, programs that have been edited out, hidden from us for so long. And I believe that when that happens, when that day comes, then that will be a massive shift in humanity's favor in this very spiritual, very non-physical battle between good and evil, because good and evil does exist, make no mistake. Good and evil does exist, right? Spirit does exist, the non-physical does exist, and the demonic exists, evil exists. And in order for us to destroy that, we need everything, we need all the power that we can get, right? But yeah, that's the video.